Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me in this Nuggets of Wisdom series, specifically Negative Self-Talk and How to Change It by Shad, Helmstetter, PhD. This book was gifted to me by my brother. And the series will consist of 9 short videos. 9 chapters are included in this book, and we are on this journey of self-healing. We know that a lot of our quote-unquote problems in our life derive from the negative programming, negative self-talk, negative wiring that most likely we picked up as a young child, an infant, from all the environmental influences that we had growing up. So, let's see. Let's do chapter 3. There's chapter 3, when negative self-talk begins. So I'll do my best to read the chapter as fluently as possible. And we're on this journey together. Please remember, you are not alone. We are all tackling this monster together. Chapter 3, where negative self-talk begins. Most of us have had the opportunity to visit the newborn nursery in a hospital. It's that wonderful place where we first visit precious little infants just after they're born. In the newborn nursery, we usually observe the infants through a viewing window. There, on the other side of the window, snuggled in their little bassinets, we see those remarkable miracles of life. Imagine looking in on a couple of those infants right now. They are amazing. If they're awake and their eyes are open, we can see them looking out into the world for the first time, as though they are searching for that incredible life they were born to live. When we look into the eyes of those infants, what we see is unlimited opportunity and possibility. They have their entire lives in front of them. Their potential is infinite. It is clear that each of these infants was born to succeed. No one is born to fail. In fact, everything about those little infants is designed to help each of them reach their highest potential. Then, even as they leave the warm, comfortable safety and security of their birthing bassinet, and then a short stay in a hospital room, the first moments of the infant's programming begins. From the mother's first words to the television screen in the corner of the room, the messages begin to come in. During the next 18 years of their lives, each of those children, if they grow up in a reasonably positive home, will be told no, or what he or she cannot do, or what will not work for them, an estimated 148,000 times. Along with that, there will be thousands more messages that tell the child who they are and what to believe about the world around them. To the child's brain, whatever they experience or are told often enough begins to form the picture of who that child believes himself or herself to be, and what is true about anything. Almost everything they think will be governed by the repeated programs they receive. It doesn't make any difference if the programs they receive are actually true or not. With enough repetition, those programs become true in the child's brain. Here's an example. Let's say that instead of being born, brought home, and raised as you were, you had been kidnapped as a small infant and taken to a different home somewhere and raised by different parents in a different part of the world and brought up in a country that was an enemy of your birth country. Instead of being you with the name and the family and the friends and the education and the experience and beliefs you have now, you would be the product of an entirely different environment. You would still be you genetically, but everything else about you would be different. Your beliefs about almost everything, your faith, your ideology, your habits, the way you dress, your attitudes, your work, your relationships, your goals, your future, virtually everything about you would be different. In fact, if that had actually happened, you could even view the person you are in your real life today as an enemy. And you could think and believe the opposite of almost everything you think and believe today. How could that be? It is simply the result of the fact that while we are all born to excel and reach our full potential with our whole lives in front of us, something happens to interrupt that process. What happens next is that the programs we receive end up forming what we believe and what we think about everything. Our programs tell us who we are and even what we will or will not do with our lives. An experiment about success and failure. To make this clear, we're going to do an experiment. It works like this. First, think of someone you know or know of whom you would consider to be a truly successful person. I don't mean just financially successful, but successful in their life. This would be someone whose life is working, someone who is living a life that is fulfilled and always moving upwards. It would probably be someone you would like to spend time with or emulate and learn from. Take a moment and think of a person you would choose who best fits the description of my most successful person. It could be someone who is living or someone who isn't. But whoever it is, get a picture of that person in your mind now so you can see them clearly. With the picture of that wonderfully successful person in your mind, imagine that she or he is actually there with you now and is standing off to the right of you. For the moment, we'll just ask that person to stand there while we add someone else to our experiment. To do that, I would like you to now think of someone you would call the least successful person you know. This would be someone you know or know of who is failing at life. When I think of the least successful person I know, I see the picture of a young kid who left home because of drug use when he was 17 years old, and his parents have never seen him since. If they did find him now, years later, they would probably find him in an alley somewhere, and he probably wouldn't even recognize his own parents because of the amount of drugs or chemicals in his system. That's the person who comes to mind when I think of someone who is failing in every way. But in your own mind, think of an example of someone you know or know of who fits your picture of failure. Whoever it is, get a clear image of that person in your mind. Then, imagine that person is also there with you right now and is standing off to the left of you. Now, in this experiment, you should have two people standing near you. On your right, there is the person who is succeeding in life. On your left is the person who is failing in life. Take a moment and examine each of them. One of them, The successful one on the right is living a life that works, successful in every important way, uplifting and fulfilling, happy and feeling good about life. The other person, the unsuccessful one on the left, is failing and spiraling downward, unhappy and living a life that is not working. Here's the key. The next question holds one of the most important answers to life itself. Question: what is the difference between the two people, the one whose life is working and the one whose life is not? Answer: the difference between the two people is their programs. It is their programs that cause them to live their lives in different ways and created the success or failure each of them now has. But the most important point is this: the two people you have imagined standing to your right and to your left, one of them so successful and the other one failing at life. Those two people could have been the two infants we saw in the newborn nursery that we looked in on just a short time ago. When they began their lives, they might have been the two little infants just born, snuggled in their safe, warm, swaddling blankets, in their little bassinets with their eyes wide open, searching, waiting to live the unlimited potential they were each born to achieve. And now, after time has passed, here they are, completely different in the outcome of their lives. What is the difference? Why did each of them turn out the way they did? The difference is their programs. When they were born, the opportunity to live a wonderful, fulfilling life was the same for each of them. But one of them ended up being wired to succeed. The other one ended up being wired to fail. People who argue against this would tell you that it was life's challenges, its ups and downs that got in the way and changed the infant who failed. And they would say that it was good luck or fortune that interceded and made the successful person successful. Or they might say that it was just the difference in the two individuals' DNA. But that's not the answer. The person who receives better, healthier, more positive programs will, over time, virtually always do better than the person who receives negative, unhealthy programs. If you know someone who's doing really well year after year and continues to do so in spite of challenges, that's programs. If you know someone who is failing time after time, continues to do so, and can't seem to get life right, that's programs. It would be up to you to decide which of the It will be up to you to decide which of the program paths you choose to follow in your own life. Since you're reading this book, I can assume that you are one of the people who choose to be successful at life. If you'd like to do that, or even be more successful than you already are, start with your programs. Start with your self-talk. If any of your self-talk is inaccurate and negative, change it. Choose to reprogram your own brain with the right positive self-talk, the right messages, the ones that should have been given to you in the first place. That concludes Chapter 3. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next lesson.